Welcome to Touchline. I'm your host, Anthony Totera, here at the OSA Center in our new studios. And this week, we're spotlighting the North York Soccer Association, and we got 3 clubs. The first club up is Spartacus and President Yuri Studin. Yuri, thanks for joining us here on Touchline.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Yuri, let's talk a little bit about your club. When did your club start, and roughly how many kids do you have right now in your club?
We started in 1994, and we have approximately 400 kids, winter and summer, participating in the club.
And how many do you have specifically in the rep program and in the house league program?
About 1/3 of them are rep players.
Very good. Now, Yuri, let's talk a little bit about your club. Where is it situated in the GTA? What part of the GTA is it situated in?
The core of North York. Our house league operates in Dufferin and Finch area, and our main soccer field, which we are using, is Willowdale Soccer School, which is on Sandlock. Approximately Dufferin and Finch and Bathurst area.
Very good. Now, Yuri, the first question I like to ask everyone when they're here is, why get involved, Yuri? Why start a club? Why put so much time and effort into this? There's got to be something in it for Yuri Studin. Why do you do this?
I'm of European descent. Came to Canada at a relatively young age. I was 27, and obviously soccer was my previous life experience. I realized there were a lot of things that were preventing Canadian soccer to develop, as I was involved with my son and wanted to continue my life in soccer in some meaningful way. So I started coaching. And that coaching was also not professional. I was player in the past, but not coaching experience that I could share with. So I learned as it was going, and as it was continuing, I was discovering all new things that preventing us from working. And because I knew the past, my past in Europe had certain experiences that were necessary to become serious player, I wanted to apply some of them. However, different world, different mentality, different culture, hockey country, and it was not easy.
It was not. But you wanted to implement some of your ideas, some of your thoughts that you brought back from your home country here to Canada. Some of your things that you implemented is you've hired coaches, Yuri, and I think this is fantastic. Paid coaches you have in your club. It is a small club, Yuri, but you've won an Ontario Cup as well in the past, and this is a great success story. Talk a little bit about these coaches, how you treat them first class.
The first thing I identified when I was typical Canadian father volunteer coach, I identified that you cannot do serious things unless you be involved with professionals. One of the shortcomings of our system here that we have no industry of coaches. It doesn't exist. If you're gonna get anyone serious who coming here to participate in sport, he has no employment. So he can do it out of goodness of his heart, because his child is involved, or he's completely obsessed with what he is doing. Otherwise, most of the coaches are not participating in soccer in a serious way. So we're losing huge number of talented individuals, plus the people who could join us in this country, employing themselves as coaches, but it doesn't happen.
Yuri, this is a great point. In the United States of America, if you go to high schools, you go to small youth clubs, their coaches are paid, and paid quite well, Yuri. Here, we're far behind that. Why?
We are a very relaxed nation. I sincerely believe that Canadians are peace lovers in every way, in every meaningful way of life. It applies to sport, except one, which is taken very seriously, it's hockey, and not taking away from that. However, the sport world is multi-sport, and soccer is the greatest, I'm not shy to say it's the greatest sport of the world.
Absolutely.
I think it requires this approach. However, not only in soccer, there is a very relaxed approach to coaching. It's mostly recreational mentality, and that's why it never catches up to the serious level.
But you know what, Yuri? I'm going to tell you something. I've noticed a change in the last year in Canada, in Ontario. There's a buzz where more people are speaking up, more people are vibrant, more people will not take no for an answer when it comes to soccer clubs, helping out, whatever the situation might be. The soccer people are rising up and are speaking, and I think this is great, Yuri.
I agree with you, and I think, with all modesty, I would say, if my effort provoked at least maybe one little fraction of what was happening now, I would be very proud, because people suddenly realize that this is a very serious activity. It's something that the whole world takes very seriously, and not to do it on a high level and to do it all the time, oh, it's a pastime, doesn't work this way. The game catches up.
Yuri, you mentioned the word serious, and I want to talk about how serious it is, the game of soccer, all over the world, when you play it on a beautiful pitch, a beautiful green grass, Kentucky green grass. Here in this country, especially here in the GTA, I've gone with my two boys in the last number of 10, 15 years, and we've played in some of the worst fields in all over the GTA. Why is that, Yuri? And I know that you have a school specifically that you've used for a long time. You maintain it, you take care of it like gold, but people are paying a lot of money for these permits in the cities, and they're getting these fields that are in horrible shape.
My understanding is that maintaining the proper pitch is a culture too. As we know, if we watch beautiful pictures from England, every Englishman would tell you that it's so easy to maintain a nice pitch. You just water it, cut the grass, water it, cut the grass, and then they jokingly say, and do it for 700 years, and it will work out. It's not easy to maintain the pitch. So if there is no intention on behalf of the city or school boards to maintain that pitch to a certain level, cut it on a regular basis, which means more than once a week or more than 10 days, water it, work with the weed. It requires specialists participating in it. It's not so easy. One of the solutions that became really lately possible is artificial turf. It doesn't require that maintenance. It provides smooth surface, right, like billiard table surface that we can use. However, the expense of it is also tremendous.
But you're not only expense on the joints, on the knees, the artificial turf is horrible, and the kids shouldn't be playing on that. Let me ask you something. If it was hockey and the kids went to play their game tonight, and the hockey surface, the ice surface was bumpy or was patchy, like we see in many fields all over the GTA, where you see blobs of empty...
Ridiculous fields.
Yes, ridiculous fields. We have to play the game no matter what. But in hockey, they wouldn't do that. They would make sure it was safe. But I know a lot of the kids in the GTA continue to play in horrible conditions.
It's, I think, approach and mentality from the higher authorities, and I am absolutely confident that it only can come from up above. Someone just next to God, which is our government. Unfortunately, we have a situation that hockey is a priority. And every time you see a new area developing in the city, there pops up new arena.
Let me ask you something. Are you a taxpayer?
I'm a taxpayer.
I'm a taxpayer. So why aren't we speaking loud and clear, the soccer taxpayer, mom and dad, and saying, look, enough is enough. We're paying. We need better fields.
We are the majority. One of the weaknesses of our sport is that we always perceived as an ethnic sport. And we are people who... like we fresh off the boat all the time, and we have to get more Canadians, established Canadian community, to participate with us. The ethnics always love soccer, but it dies out in one generation, and then they become Canadians, and they are not so passionate anymore. So we need that. We need people to participate, and you're absolutely right. People who pay taxes, we are the majority, and soccer lovers are the majority.
And we need to speak loud and clear.
Speak louder, yeah.
Great points. Yuri, let's talk about, a lot of parents come up to me and they say, Anthony, discuss why soccer has gotten so expensive in the city of Toronto and the GT in Ontario. Why has it gotten so expensive? I'm going to tell you why, Yuri. I really believe that a lot of these clubs are really maxed out. Some of them are making good money, but some of them are really doing it to help out the kids and are suffering, because a lot of the cost is going to these uniform makers, where you get this little cheap little uniform, you're paying so much for it, and you've got to pass the cost on. What do we need to do, not just your club, but so many other clubs, to speak loud and clear on this as well?
I agree. And one of the interesting paradoxes of this is that, yes, soccer booming and supporting industry is very well established.
Good point.
Like, I get almost every week call after call of people peddling uniform to you. So everybody making money around the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important components of the game, which is player and the coach and the facility, is not up to standard. Facilities are very expensive. Uniforms are expensive. The brand names, like, which is one of the things that everybody wants to have, are taking so much juice out of the real essence of the game. Coaches, if they get paid, and I want to emphasize that, it's still underpaid. It's not really serious money that coaches are making.
Well, let me ask you this, Yuri. Maybe it's time one of these uniform makers decides to put some money in building a couple fields and putting their name on these fields, so that they can advertise their name as well and help out the community and the kids.
Yeah, I agree. The money has to come from corporate community. And the people who are making money on soccer, they should contribute to soccer too.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's this big door that's happening, those rents that being charged, right? They're not trickling down back. Like even the city, taking taxpayers' money to play in city of Toronto, artificial turf, you have to pay $300 for 2 hours. This is unbearable. This is unbearable.
Unbelievable. Yuri, let's talk about some things that make you smile. Some things that made me smile when I was helping my kids out, and still to this day, was Picture Day. Love seeing the smiles on the kids at Picture Day, Banquet Day when they got their trophies. But I know guys like you, Yuri, and guys like me love to see kids go on to success, whether it's getting a scholarship, getting a trial in Europe, getting maybe an opportunity with TFC Academy or the senior team. You've got a whole list of guys that have gone on to success from your club. And most recently, we're going to talk a little bit about him, is Joseph Dichiara. He's gone over to Europe, and he's trying to make it big there, and he's out of your program from the Spartacus club. Talk about some of these players.
I just wanted to agree with you on one thing. It's adorable, the house leaguers, the little children. It's pleasure to watch. It's pleasure to watch those soccer moms and pops participating in it. It's a great joy, and it's the greatest relaxation you can see. However, we all remember that eventually everybody wants to win, and there comes the competitive mentality. And when you do competitive stuff, you want to do a good job, and you want eventually to see some of the fruits of your work. It takes many years to develop a player. Classical, you asked me about Joseph. Joseph is a highlight of our success, and I wanted to, I was thinking last night about the years that invested in one player without any guarantee that something will come out of it. It was 12 years. 12 years, wow. Joseph was a classical little boy house leaguer that came to the club, was identified as talent. His father George and his mom Pat, they stuck around for all those years. For a dozen years they stuck around. You know, all the hardships of driving around, paying the fees, doing whatever you need, and suddenly there is a joy, because you never guaranteed. You think that he's a good kid. He was lucky with his coaching. Coach Alex takes huge credit. His first coach, Vlad, who developed his technical skills, and then Coach Alex, who was very mature coach.
What's his last name? Coach Alex, what's his last name?
His name is Shikov. That's how you pronounce him. He was a pro. He came to our country is lucky to have coaches like that, because only by accident. He was not recruited in Europe. He wasn't called up to coach here. He just came for family situation. He ended up in our neck of the woods, and he did the job. And not only with him, about half a dozen kids.
Mention some of these kids, because I love hearing
Sure.
stories like this.
Absolutely.
Some of the kids that have gone on success. Give us some of them.
Kane Moore went to play in University of DC. It's a second division. It's not the highest, but he's very happy here. I just heard later from him.
When you say it's just second division, I bet you there's hundreds of thousands of other kids that would love to be in his position. Anyway.
I agree with you, but he is the guy who plays in second division, and he's the only one. The rest of them, this is the latest information, because when I was about to meet you, I updated myself.
Good.
Brandon Good, Quinnipiac University in Connecticut. It's a first division university, very prestigious school. In first year, he's a freshman, he's a captain.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Serious about maybe going and playing professional soccer. The chances from kids from first division in U.S. school, at least to be exposed to MLS.
Yes, absolutely.
And MLS is pretty good level.
Absolutely.
Another great guy, which was loyal to the club, you know, like to the fault. Daniel Haber. Never could say, went through health issues and everything, bounced back. Great kid, great family. And again, it's always great family behind. If you know patient parents, Cornell University, Ivy League.
Wow.
Ivy League, yeah. This is amazing. Andrew Barrett, first division, poor Jamaican kid, you know, came to us, parents, day and night with us.
You love hearing stories like this.
Great family.
You love hearing stories like this. Kids that have gone on to success, worked hard every day. Now they get to live their dream that a lot of other kids would love to be in. You love hearing stories like this. And you got to thank mom and dad out there. Mom and dad, or just mom or just dad, they spend a lot of time in the cars, coffees, running around, missing overtime at work, and they're doing it all for the kids. Love this year. Very quickly,
right.
Who else do you have there?
And I just want to mention that it's Oakland University in Michigan, first division. Andrew, great kid, never miss a practice. And highlight is Joseph. Joseph went to the great university, as he was the only white child in Afro-American university, which was Howard in DC. Wow. The coach begged him to come over there. Just went there, played there, but always had that dream to go and play professional soccer. Alex had connection in Russia. He sent him to a couple clubs. Joseph almost made it. Those were top teams. Then he went to a team called Kryliya Sovetov, or a Russian English translation, Soviet Wings, in a big industrial city on Volga River called Samara. Amazing story is he made the team. He now is in training camp in Turkey.
Love hearing these things here. You talk with passion and love, and you light up, and you get all emotional because you're proud of what you did. It's not all about the trophies and the winning. It's about stories like this, and yes, we want to win.
That matters.
And this is what matters, that you've helped these young men become men now, not just boys when they started, but men. Yuri, just before we let you go, two things. First of all, what is your website if someone in the area where your club is situated would like to get a hold of you, maybe register their child? Give that out.
Our website is www.Spartacus, like club name, Spartacus Soccer, one word, .ca. SpartacusSoccer.ca.
And the last thing I'm going to ask you, Yuri, is very simply this. We're here at the OSA, and here at the OSA there's a lot of good things that have been happening, and there's things that we need to improve on as well. If there's something good that you've seen in the last number of months, tell us out there, tell the viewers. And if there's something also, to be honest, that you want to see more from the OSA, let them know now as well.
I think the seriousness of approach drastically increased. No question about that. Soccer is taken seriously. The ambitions changed. The attitude changed. The presence of professional organization like Toronto FC is very important. We need more of that. I wish we had few more professional teams, few serious soccer academies. And another issue is I would like to see children who reach talented level not to be charged.
That's a great point. That's a very good point.
Why should they pay? You know, no country does that. And it's not to decrement on Toronto OSA, but they have it. You go to the provincial team, you still have to pay. For goodness sake, you represent your province, your country. that player should be subsidized, but whichever means, maybe corporate, maybe government,
good points.
but they shouldn't be charged.
I like those points very much. Yuri Studin, thank you very much for joining us here on Touchline. A small little club from the North York Soccer Association, Spartacus Youth Club. Great success story. Ontario Cup winners in the past. Great young men that have gone on to success in the US of A and in Europe. Yuri, keep up the good work, you and your club. And remember, it's all about the kids. Thanks for joining us here on Touchline.